This is my first video on YouTube, and it's a response to Venomfang X, who has inspired me to shed my apathy and get out there and be heard. I need to talk about the filth that I'm seeing here, and being out of school at the moment, I've got some free time on my hands. I'm going to try and do this from a position of being as humble as I can. There are people out there who have devoted more time to proving evolution than I have been alive, who are much better educated on the subject than myself, but I feel that I have at least some understanding of evolution beyond the high school level. Also, I know some about debate, logical fallacies, the ability to learn, reason, and think for myself. So without further delay, let's start dissecting and doing a review of Venomfang X's latest video, which he claims to be the most important video on the internet.
How to Falsify Evolution by Sean, Venomfang X from YouTube. Any theory that does not provide a method to falsify and validate its claims is a useless theory. For example, if someone said a watermelon is blue on the inside but turns red when you cut it open, how could you prove them wrong? How could they prove they're right? You couldn't, and they can't. There is no available method to confirm or disprove what they said about the watermelon. Therefore, we can dismiss the theory of the blue interior of watermelons as pure speculation and guesswork, not science. You cannot say something is true without demonstrating how it is not false, and you cannot say something is not true without demonstrating how it is false. Any theory that cannot explain how to both validate and falsify its claims in this manner cannot be taken seriously.
No. Somewhere at the top of the list of things you do in the scientific method is making your hypothesis. By definition, a hypothesis is a proposition or set of propositions set forth as an explanation for the occurrence of some specified group of phenomena, either asserted merely as a provisional conjecture to guide the investigation, as in a working hypothesis, or accepted as a highly probable in light of established facts. When I make and test my hypothesis, if my hypothesis was false, I make a new hypothesis based off my results and retest. I learned how to do this in the 7th grade. This is an argument from ignorance fallacy. It assumes that your premise is true because it has not been proven false, or that your premise is false because it has not yet been proven true. If your hypothesis is evolution is a bogus theory, then you gather evidence to support that. If you really want to disprove evolution, it can be done, it just hasn't been done yet. The easiest thing that I could ask you to do is get a bone from a Great Dane, use carbon dating to find its date. Then get a bone from a T-Rex, use carbon dating to get its date. When you do that, compare your results. If you come up and you get results that say they lived at the same time, I will be impressed. However, after I issued this challenge, I realized in another one of your videos you openly attacked the carbon-14 dating system, despite the popular scientific consensus that is a valid and accurate tactic.
It is circular reasoning to be able to validate something without saying how to falsify it, or vice versa. This is the nature of verification and falsification. Both must be clearly demonstrated in order for a theory to be confirmed to be true or false. Something cannot be proven to be true without showing that it is not false, and something cannot be proven to be not true unless it can be proven to be false.
No. Circular reasoning and circular logic is use of reason in which the premise depends on or is equivalent to the conclusion. It's a method of false logic by saying this is used to prove that, and then that is used to prove this. What you've actually done when you so ignorantly proclaimed that your own circular reasoning and or false dichotomy statements about needing to simultaneously prove and disprove a hypothesis was actually to set up your entire video to run off of a combination of circular logic, false dichotomies, and plentiful logical fallacies. Oh, I mentioned logical flaws. I'm sure that I'll have more to point out later, but we'll save that.
Unfortunately, Darwin never properly demonstrated how to falsify his theory, which means evolution has not properly been proven, since it has never been demonstrated what the evidence does not suggest. In the event that evolution is not true, there should be a clear and defined method of reasoning to prove such by demonstrating through evidence that one could not possibly make any alternative conclusions based on said evidence. It is for this reason we must be extremely skeptical of how the evidence has been used to support evolution for lack of proper method of falsification, especially when the actual evidence directly contradicts the theory. If it can be demonstrated how to properly falsify evolution, regardless if evolution is true or not, only then can evolution ever be proven or disproved. It must be able to be demonstrated that if evolution were false, how to go about proving that, and while Darwin indeed made a few statements on this issue, his statements were not adequate or honest.
If you remember, I was telling you just a few seconds ago that there would be new logical fallacies. Well, here we are, and we have some new ones. How about baseless claims? As far as I know, all the evidence we've ever found supports evolution, and nothing we've found is contradictory to it. If you make a point, be sure to support it. Also, the argument from personal incredulity is a nice touch here. I realize that it's Venom Fang X's ego, who says that you need to disprove intelligent design or evolution to prove the other. Furthermore, who says that these two ideas are the only two schools of thought. Venom Fang X is making his own rules with no regard to practices or principles that have been tried and tested and are generally accepted as the way to do things. To top it off, he's also using very poor logic. And of course we have our ad hominem attack on Darwin, who was indeed a bad, bad man. All the furthering of the knowledge of the human race in the areas of speciation and his influential and brilliant ideas on theorizing the origins of species and evolutions, as well as being a key figure in what we see in biology today, and doing it during a time when talk about something like this was much more controversial and even dangerous. Yeah, his track record is clearly nothing compared to someone like you, Venom, who's made sure you go out of your way for us so that we don't get any of this newfangled science on us. Clearly, ignorance and baseless claims are best for us all.
That is to say, if the following falsification is valid and cannot show evolution to be false, then evolution theory would be proven true by way of deductive reasoning. That is the essence of falsification. If it can be shown that something is not false, it must therefore be true. This would confirm the accuracy of this falsification method, which all theories must have, and show that Darwin did not properly show how evolution could be falsified in the event that evolution was not true. In order to show evolution is not false, thereby proving it to be true, we must be able to show how it would be false if it were. Without being able to falsify evolution in this manner, you cannot validate it either. If something cannot be shown to be false, yet it is said to be true, this is circular reasoning, since you have no way of confirming this conclusion.
No, if I'm not mistaken, you just described what you are doing with circular logic and personal incredulity. I pointed this out before, but let me change the language here to make it a little bit cleaner. Don't worry, I'll keep you updated. There we go. This is much easier to read, and it says the same thing. I changed out a lot of your longer words and phrases for synonyms, and I will compare it, or you can pause it and go back and see exactly what I changed. In order to show evolution is true, we must be able to show how it is false. Without being able to prove evolution false, you cannot prove evolution true. Remember, viewers, if text seems overly complicated, there's probably some sort of reason.
If we told a blind person our car is red, and they agreed we were telling the truth, the blind person could not tell another blind person accurate information regarding the true color of the car. While he has evidence that the car is red by way of personal testimony, he has no way of confirming if this is true or false, since he might have been lied to, regardless if he was or not.
I actually agree with you here. A blind man can never understand the color red. Now can we please get back to the discussion at hand? This is a non sequitur logical fallacy, meaning literally does not follow. The person's ability to see the world has no bearing on evolutionary theory or the intelligent design theory, unless this blind individual is going to tell us what he knows about the subject. There's really no reason to even bring him up. Oh, by the way, at this point, I'm going to stop pointing out all of the logical fallacies that I find, but keep your eyes open. Just because I'm not telling you they're here doesn't mean they're not.